Let's go live now to Geneva. This is where the World Health Organization is having a live briefing. Let's take you live there.
Thank you, Tariq. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Tomorrow, WHO is joining forces with many of the world's leading musicians, comedians, and humanitarians for the One World Together at Home, virtual, global, special. This is the result of a close collaboration with my good friend Hugh Evans from Global Citizens and the inspirational Lady Gaga to bring entertainment, joy, and hope into the homes of people all around the world whose lives have been turned upside down by the COVID-19 pandemic. I would also like to use this opportunity to thank Lady Gaga's mother, Cynthia Germanotta, who is our Goodwill Ambassador, who is doing a great job advocating for mental health around the world. And thank you so much, Lady Gaga, and thank you so much, Cynthia Germanotta, for your continued support and help. This is a family project, and we really appreciate for your commitment and dedication. This is an opportunity to express our solidarity with frontline health workers and to mobilize philanthropists, the private sector, and governments to support the COVID-19 Solidarity Response Fund, powered by the United Nations Foundation and the Swiss Philanthropy Foundation. So far, the Solidarity Response Fund has generated more than $150 million from more than 245,000 individuals, corporations, and foundations. These funds are helping us to buy personal protective equipment, lab diagnostics, and other essential supplies for the countries that need it most. So I would like to say thank you so much. Thank you from our heart to those who have contributed. For further details about tomorrow's events, I'm delighted to welcome once again my friend and my brother, Hugh Evans, to say a few words, to be followed by the amazing Lady Gaga. Hugh, over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tedros, and thank you, members of the press, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. I'd also like to acknowledge Lady Gaga, who has played a leading role in curating One World Together at Home. During tomorrow night's special of One World Together at Home, you will see the worlds of music and policy come together to celebrate and support the dedicated and essential work of frontline community health workers. Whether it's the doctors, the nurses, or the lab practitioners, these are the real heroes in responding to COVID-19. Their sacrifices day in and day out deserve to be honored and supported. And so that's why we've been calling on citizens everywhere to use their voices to take action to ensure we all have access to testing, to all have access to vaccines when they're available, and all can practice social distancing. We've also been calling on philanthropists and the private sector to step up in support of the WHO's Solidarity Fund and local charities who are supporting the most vulnerable people around the world. Because we know that the most vulnerable in our communities must not be forgotten. And above all, we want to ensure that the frontline community health workers have the equipment and the support they need to fight this disease. The COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted why international cooperation is more important now than ever. We must solve global problems with global solutions because we know that a virus anywhere can lead to a virus everywhere. And our mission, and at the heart of what we're wanting to achieve through One World Together at Home tomorrow night, is ensuring that our global health systems are strengthened in the future to prevent a future pandemic. so that the poorest and most vulnerable in our societies are protected. No generation should have to endure the pain and suffering we've all experienced around the world over these last few months ever again. That's why we are proud to work with our partners and relief organizations to support communities affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. The money raised tomorrow night will go to support both local charities and also efforts to provide PPE to community health workers around the world. Face masks, protective equipment, gowns, goggles, the things that they deserve. Our healthcare workers deserve our support. And we know that if we all do our part, we can weather this storm. At Global Citizen, we're so proud of what's been achieved in a few short weeks with the One World Together at Home. Since we announced the special, we've received phone calls from Mongolia to Iceland, from South Africa to India, Brazil to Korea, asking how people can support the effort to ensure we can reach as many people as possible. This is a moment of true togetherness. And we are honored that on Saturday, thanks to the outpouring of support, One World Together at Home will be accessible to billions of people around the world. From Asia to Africa, Europe to the Americas, the special will be broadcast in over 100 countries, and it will be accessible across the entire world on digital and audio platforms. This will be a true shared experience, and we could not have done this without the support of the WHO team. Special thanks to Paul Garwood and Gabby and the communications team for their tremendous partnership. And I'd also personally like to thank the executive producers of the special, Michelle Anthony and the team at Universal Music, Bobby Campbell, who works with Lady Gaga, Declan Kelly and the team at Teneo for all of their efforts to rally the artist community, philanthropists, and the private sector in support of COVID-19 response efforts. It is now my great pleasure to welcome our friend and partner in ending this crisis, who I want to sincerely thank for all the time, energy, and effort she has given to this. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lady Gaga.
Thank you so much, Evan. Hugh Evans, you're wonderful. I'm really speechless at how kind everyone is on this call today. Thank you so much, Dr. Tedros. I can speak on behalf of not only myself, but my mother as well. We deeply appreciate your partnership. And yes, it is quite true. We all know the importance of the mental health support that the medical community will need during this time and after. It will be extremely crucial, and we are already getting ready. Thank you, Hugh Evans. You are a superstar at Global Citizen. Thank you for your continued leadership. And this fight against COVID-19 is one that the whole world will fight together. Over the last week, I have witnessed an inspiring and fearless global effort. While watching medical workers continue to battle the front line of this pandemic, leaders, other nonprofits, artists of many mediums, and people of all nations have combined forces to write a love letter to the world. We call it One World Together at Home. It is a love letter to our doctors, a love letter to our nurses and other healthcare professionals who are risking their own lives for the sake of ours. To the delivery drivers, grocery store workers, factory workers, public transportation workers, postal workers, and restaurant workers doing the same, we celebrate your bravery and your heroism. During this time, we have seen the coming together of a singular, kind, global community. This triumph has instilled in myself and my colleagues a true calling to call upon the private sector and philanthropists to commit millions of dollars to support the World Health Organization's COVID-19 response. To name a few of dozens and dozens of donors, we now additionally have donations from Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson, Citi, Coca-Cola, Target, the Ford Foundation, Rockefeller Foundation, and Bloomberg Philanthropies. Updates are such that we are now at $50 million and counting in contribution to the fund and to local community-focused charities. When we launched this with you all, 12 days ago, the world was in a different place. And 12 days from now, the world will be different again. We hope for the better. We also hope that though tomorrow night's event, One World Together at Home, we will continue this, telling global stories of triumph and hope, and told to a global audience, truly bringing the world together. We can do something to bring joy and respite to the corners of the earth. With that, I am pleased to share with all of you some news that the Rolling Stones have joined the lineup of artists performing tomorrow. Let's keep the momentum going. Once we see this tomorrow night, this will not be the end, and I will still be taking your phone calls if you wish to donate. Let's keep our joy. Let's remind each other that this is a kind world. We are excited even more to announce more donations tomorrow night. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart to all of the healthcare workers around the world. Dr. Tedros, you're truly a superstar. Thank you so much to the media for telling the stories of all of these medical professionals and getting the word out about how under-resourced their systems are. And to all the global citizens out there for supporting this effort. I'm Lady Gaga. I'm an Italian-American patriot. But I'm also a global citizen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lady Gaga, and thank you, Hugh. I look forward to joining you and millions of people all over the world tomorrow for what I am sure will be a wonderful event. And I share what Lady Gaga said. What the world needs is love and solidarity. So please accept much gratitude and much love from myself, Lady Gaga, and Hugh Evans, and all our colleagues here. That's what the world needs. Again, what the world needs is love and solidarity to defeat this dangerous enemy. More than 2 million cases of COVID-19 have now been reported to WHO, and more than 135,000 people have lost their lives. While we mourn for those we have lost, we also celebrate those who have survived and the thousands of people who are now recovering. WHO is updating our guidance to include recommendations for caring for patients during their recovery period and after hospital discharge. We're encouraged that several countries in Europe and North America are now starting to plan how to ease social restrictions. We have said previously that easing these measures must be a gradual process. And we have spoken about the criteria that countries should consider. Yesterday, we published our guidance on considerations in adjusting public health and social measures, which we encourage countries to read and apply. But although we see encouraging signs in some countries, there are worrying trends in others. In the past week, there has been a 51% increase in the number of reported cases in my own continent, Africa, and a 60% increase in the number of reported deaths. With the current challenge of obtaining testing kits, it's likely that the real numbers are higher than reported. With WHO support, most countries in Africa now have the capacity to test for COVID-19, but there are still significant gaps in access to testing kits. We're working with partners to fill those gaps and help countries find the virus. The African Centers for Disease Control and Prevention announced yesterday that more than 1 million tests for COVID-19 will be rolled out across the continent starting next week. Strengthening and supporting African Union institutions like the African CDC will really help.
Well, we do apologize for that break in transmission live from Geneva, the World Health Organization briefing there. Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, of course, a briefing in terms of the numbers of infections around the world. But starting off there, of course, with the One World Together at Home concert, which will be taking place tomorrow. You would know that there are quite a number of superstars and artists that will be performing there. And, of course, Lady Gaga spearheading all of that. Don't forget, coming up here on the SABC News channel, one of the South African artists who is performing as well, part of the One World Together concert, is Nomzamo Mbata. That's coming up at 7:30 tonight. Let's go back to Geneva.
By getting vaccines from labs to people as fast as possible and as equitably as possible. The commitment from President Macron, from Bill Gates, and also from Prime Minister Boris Johnson is heartwarming. I also spoke to the Prime Minister of Barbados and the current chair of the Caribbean countries about the challenges faced by small island developing states in gaining access to test kits and other supplies. No country left.
All right, we do apologize once again for that break in transmission. I'll just hear in just a short moment if we're going to go back there. Our technical team here is trying to sort that out. It doesn't look like it's a challenge from our side, but more the feed that is coming from Geneva. We hope to take you back there very shortly. But of course, we did indicate that the One World Together at Home concert is taking place. All of the proceeds from that, which will be, of course, streamed live tomorrow around the world, you would know, the proceeds of that will be going towards making sure that those in the front line of the fight against the coronavirus around the world do get access to personal protective equipment, and mostly to some of the NGOs there, and also to some of the NGOs around the world. You would know that here in South Africa, part of those who will be part of that auspicious event include your Casper Nyovest, as well as your Nomzamo Mbata, who we'll be speaking to at 7:30 here on The Full View. You don't want to miss that. She's going to be live from Los Angeles in the United States. She will tell us exactly about what her contribution is there. And she's got a surprise for you as well. She'll be telling you something that you haven't heard before, what exactly her foundation is doing and exactly how much they've raised. You want to stay tuned for that. That's at 7:30. Let's take a short break here on The Full View. Much more coming up after the break.